Hi there, here's a really easy recipe to make some Cheesymite scrolls. Need some self-raising flour, Marmite and some butter, bit of salt and some baking powder. It's really easy to do. Just measure out your flour. I'm going to do 400 grams. And then what you want is a quarter of the weight of the flour in butter. This is just come out of the fridge, it's pretty cold, and just cut it into chunks. So I want 100 grams. Which is about there. Then put it all in a bowl and just work the butter in with your fingertips. Just keep on scrunching it until all that's all worked in. Okay, so all the butter's gone in there now. See, it's turned into kind of fine crumbs. All the big bits of butter are all mixed in there. Next, what you want to do is, when I made these before, it was a problem because they didn't rise up, they didn't puff up enough. And I've been looking at a few more recipes, and one said to try a bit of baking powder. And I did that last time, they puffed up absolutely lovely. So let's put a teaspoon of baking powder in there. Just mix that in. Maybe a little bit more, teaspoon and a half, and then just add some salt. Gives it a bit more flavour. Just a good kind of about a teaspoon of salt. I like to whack a bit of pepper in there as well. It's kind of savoury. And just mix it all up. Next thing you need is some milk. The consistency of the dough is quite important too. First time I made it, it was far too dry, so you need a pretty wet mix. What I'm going to do is start adding milk and just put the blunt knife, just move it around. Eventually a dough will form. You just keep on adding milk until it all clumps together. Don't put too much in, otherwise it would be really sloppy, but it wants to be, like I say, pretty moist mix. Just keep on adding the milk, it'll all start coming together. Should be, and it needs to be pretty sticky, so that if you folded this out onto the side and it didn't have flour on the side, it would kind of stick to it. That's the kind of consistency that you want. And also, don't beat it around too much. It's best if you kind of treat the dough really lightly, especially when you take it out, when you roll it out on the side. Just be quite gentle with it. You don't need to kind of bash it around too much. I think we're there. So what you need to do, see, it's pretty sticky there. What we need to do, just put some flour out. You have to put flour on the top, otherwise the rolling pin will stick to it. But you just want to gently roll it out into a big rectangle. I don't have a rolling pin, so I'm just going to use a wine bottle. Again, be fairly gentle with it. Bear in mind that it is pretty sticky, so if you move it around, put the flour back down. Just going to make it into a kind of rough rectangle. That'll help. But the less you pound it around, the less air that will come out of it, so you want to treat it pretty gently. You want to roll it so that it's around about half a centimetre thick, maybe a little bit thicker than that, but around about half a centimetre is pretty good. Almost there. Doesn't matter if it's not completely kind of rectangular, it just makes it a little bit easier to roll it up. Cool, right. Next thing you're going to do is put your Marmite in there. So just get a knife, get a big old globule. Helps if the Marmite's a little bit warm actually, because it helps it spread a bit better. But you can kind of just paint it on. Can you see this? Oh, here we go. Yeah, just kind of separated it out. It's good to spread it out as much as you can, otherwise you just get a massive shot of Marmite in one place, which is quite nice, but not all people like that. Right, so it's all rolled out, the Marmite spread over it. Now you want to add the cheese, so just grate it straight onto the top. Got a fair dusting of cheese. Don't worry if there's a couple of lumps, it just means that you get a nice big bit of melted cheese in there. Now what you need to do is roll it from the long side in that way. So just get underneath it. It's a little bit tricky because the dough is so kind of moist, but it's fairly easy once you get the hang of it. We're a little bit stuck down here, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. Just chuck a bit of flour in there, that's all good. Excellent. There we go. Excellent. Now all we have to do is just chop them into little bits. Okay, so I'm just going to line a baking tray with a bit of baking parchment. Put that down like that, and then use an old butter wrapper just to put a bit of grease on it. Just a bit of butter on there. And then you're ready to put your scrolls on there. So just chop these into kind of 1.5 inch high bits like that. Just put them down. These are going to puff up a bit, so just put them far enough apart for them to allow to rise a little bit. So I've preheated the oven to around about 220. I find that a normal oven's kind of a bit better than a fan oven. I'm not sure why, but I've had more luck with just a normal conventional oven. So there they all are. You can put a little sprinkle of cheese just on the top. When it cooks in the oven, it gets loads of flavour, so it's really good. So just do a bit more cheese. And just put them on the top like that. Right then, awesome, ready to go in the oven. So this oven's got an element up the top there. I usually put them kind of pretty low, otherwise the tops can burn, so just go in there. So preheated to about 220 and check them in 10 minutes and they'll be pretty much done. Whoa! There you have it. Lovely Cheesymite scrolls. Yum yum yum.